Welcome to 7 Tech. My name is Curtis. We've got a broken PC. Last time it was a laptop. This time we got a desktop. I had the owner reach out to me and he told me that he had some problems with the PC coming on. He said he hit the power button and nothing would happen. He went inside, unplugged some cables, plugged them back in, hit the power button, and the fans came on and the lights, but he never got anything on the screen. He turned it back off, tried to turn it back on, and nothing. I asked him to send me a few pictures of the PC with the side panel off, just so I could see the parts. The first thing I noticed on the inside was some no-name power supply that is probably bad. I'm gonna put my money on the power supply. So let's see if I'm right. Okay, so I've taken the side panel off and I've got a power cord. The power supply is off. Let's plug it up. Turn the power supply on and see if we can duplicate the problem. Well, we've duplicated. It won't come on. Before I proceed any further, I want to clear the CMOS, just in case there's a bad config in there or something. I don't know how a bad CMOS could prevent it from powering on, but just in case. So I'm going to jump those pins that clears the CMOS with this screwdriver. Also, to eliminate it being possibly the power button on the case bad, I've pulled the front panel connectors off of the motherboard and I'm going to jump the power pins on the motherboard to see if it comes on. Let's turn power supply on and nothing. The next thing I want to do is try and power on the power supply independent of the motherboard. And for that, I have this little jumper adapter here. And what it does is it just jumps pins 15 and 16. I think 15 is the power supply on pin and 16 is a ground. So you just jump that pin to the ground and it'll turn on the power supply without needing a motherboard or anything. Another good thing with it is you can test it with your multimeter and probe in here to see if you're getting the right voltages you need. I've also hooked up a Molex to a 3-pin fan adapter to one of the front fans there just to see if that powers on when we try this. I have the little adapter hooked up and a case fan plugged up. Let's turn on the power supply. And it's powering a fan and the power supply fan is on. So my probes on my meter were not deep enough or long enough to reach all the way in, but you can get to them through the back here as well. So I've got this shoved in one of the ground pins and we'll test all these others. So the orange is your 3 volt, the yellow is your 12 volt, and the reds are your 5 volts. Then all the blacks are grounds. So let's just check and see what we've got. And here's 3 volts on the multimeter, 3.4. Let's see if we can move that a little closer so you can see. We got 3.4, 3.4. There's 5 volt, 5 volt, 5 volt. And the yellow is 12 volt. There's 12 and 12. Now I want to disconnect all non-essential items off of this motherboard just in case one item is preventing it from booting. So we're disconnecting the SATA, the graphics card's coming out. Disconnect this fan plug. We need the CPU power. We only need 1 stick of RAM, USB 3.0 connector, audio front panel connector, another fan connector. I have everything non-essential disconnected from the motherboard. So that basically means we've got 24-pin power, CPU power, CPU's plugged in, of course, 1 stick of RAM, nothing else is hooked to the PC right now. So I'm gonna jump the power pin, see if we get, oh, well, I guess it'd be good to plug in power. All right, power supply on. I am going to jump the power pins. And still nothing. I'm beginning to suspect the motherboard. Just gonna try the stick of RAM, actually the other stick of RAM in a different slot as well, just in case. Power supply on, jump the power pins, still nothing. Off camera, I pulled the CMOS battery, checked the voltage on it, and it was completely dead, no voltage at all. Now I've heard tell that A dead CMOS battery can prevent your motherboard from booting. I myself have never witnessed it or experienced it, but I have a new battery. I'm gonna pop that in and we'll see if it boots. Turn power supply back on and jump power pins. Nothing. I didn't think it would, but that's part of the troubleshooting steps. So I've pulled the motherboard out of the case and I've taken a look over the motherboard, and I came across this one spot here on this LAN guard component. It is burnt pretty bad right there. And this is the Ethernet port. So maybe he took a surge to the Ethernet port. You can even see where it looks like the spark shot out onto the bottom left of the Ethernet shielding as well. So I'll contact the owner and see where he'd like to go from here. I've reached out to the owner and I recommended a couple paths. One was trying to find that exact motherboard, which we did on Amazon, but it was $129. And I just couldn't see the point in paying that much for such an old socket. So I recommended a platform upgrade because secondly, we don't know if it took the CPU with it or the RAM with it when it shorted out. I recommended an AMD platform or an Intel platform. I gave him a choice of either. He chose the AMD platform. We got an AMD Ryzen 5 5500 and a Gigabyte B450M motherboard and some Ripjaws 32 gigs worth of memory at 3600 megahertz. His old RAM kit was 2400 megahertz. So it should be a decent little upgrade for him. And we're gonna keep the same GPU. Build montage coming in. Well, there's the new platform. All the parts are in. Nice budget build. Now time for the fun part, cable management. Let's begin. And here it is. I dusted it, cleaned it up, new platform install. It's time for first boot. Let's see how it goes. Power button. We've got power. There's our post. Now when you have a new system, your RAM usually defaults to the probably 2400 megahertz. So make sure you go in and pick whatever RAM speed that your kit was sold as. You're usually gonna look for something like XMP, DOCP, and there's our 3600. And there's our Windows login screen. Now we'll go in and install the AMD chipset drivers. This was an Intel platform. I explained to the owner that it's best to do a wipe and reinstall of Windows when changing from AMD and Intel. He said he had some data on here that he wasn't sure what all he needed to keep. So I told him I'd go ahead and install the drivers, and if he had any problems with it, wipe and reinstall Windows might be the best fix. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the AMD chipset drivers on here and get it back to the owner. Well, the PC's repaired. I don't know, do you call a platform swap a repair, or are we just carrying over old parts to a new PC build? I don't know, but either way, the owner's got a PC up and running that he's able to game on again. And if you live near the Alabama-Mississippi state line down on the Gulf Coast, and you need a PC repaired, or maybe you want one built, reach out to me and let me see what I can do for you. You can find my contact info down in the description below. If you like this video and you enjoy all things tech, please give my video a like and my channel a subscribe so you can be notified of my new videos. My name is Curtis. Thanks for watching 7 Tech. We got our broken PC today. Why don't I say today? I'm stupid. Are you serious? To see if it turns on. I thought I was recording. If you enjoyed this video and you like all things tech, just If you enjoyed this video and you like all things blah,